So today I'm here with Matt Clifford and probably the craziest Porsche Cayman in the world. So Matt, it's quite hard to know where to start with this car because I normally sort of start with the big modifications, but the whole thing is a big modification. Let's go with the wheels, the carbon lit wheels. So can you talk us through those?
Yeah, so they were originally 17-inch Futuras off a 930 turbo that I am aware was crashed at some point. And my friend actually had the 17-inch Futura sat in his unit. That's Paintwork Pure Customs. And then he basically, when we were building the car, I was going to put other wheels on it. And he basically turned around and was like, you know, I got a set of Futuras for this upstairs that are 5x130. And I was like, okay. And then we put them on before it was wide bodied and they were fully polished. And then we stepped them up to 19-inch with a step up kit. And then we kind of just adapted them to this build rather than buying a new set of wheels, really. So bigger barrels, bigger lips, and change the kind of colour scheme. And my vision with it was to always like kind of meet the carbon with the carbon.
Right.
That's what I wanted in my head when I was building it. So,
well, talking about that, so let's get onto this body kit that you got through VAD, didn't you?
Yeah, Leat VAD, yeah. So it's an RSR body kit, which is kind of based off like the Porsche RSR race cars, the cup cars.
Yeah.
But this is the world's first and only full carbon one. So it's all carbon, and then it's basically been blended into the original black paint of the car.
Yeah, so that's what you were talking about, wasn't it? So originally that whole kit is bright carbon fibre.
Yeah.
But you've blended it up, and then where the arch meets the wheel, it goes back into carbon. It's just a really, really smart, beautiful touch, and I should imagine quite hard to get right. Who did the body work on it?
So Greg Howe did the bodywork at Carbon Bodies. My original kind of brief was, because this all kind of comes in pre-preg carbon, so it's just raw carbon. I went to him with basically a brief of saying like, anywhere where the carbon meets the actual paint, I want blended. So it kind of, you can't really see it until you're up close to it. Because for me, personally, I don't really like where you see, like if you get a carbon bonnet or a carbon arch, they just kind of go, and it's on. I don't like seeing the kind of, to me it looks like you've gone to like a parts place and got a spare bit. So that was kind of my vision of just blending it smoothly into it without any sort of rivets or on the arches or anything like that. So do you want to guess how many layers of lacquer are on it?
12.
9.
Oh,
you're close.
I was close.
9 layers of lacquer, yeah.
Can we now talk about this crazy bonnet? Where's that from?
So yeah, that's from Leat VAD as well. That's RSR 911 bonnet, right, which you can fit on a Cayman.
Oh, okay.
It does go on a Cayman, so...
So is that a direct fit?
Yeah, fits straight on. Yeah, no changing. Yeah, you can get a 911 bonnet on a Cayman, yeah.
And these headlights are different?
Yeah, headlights, I forget about all the modifications sometimes. Yeah, these have all been broken apart, custom painting inside, and they don't kind of break apart like a normal headlight would. So normally when you have a headlight like this and you want to do this kind of modification, you stick it in a paint booth, put the heater on, mount the glue, and it just comes apart. The guy who did these tried that and pulled them out of the paint booth and they were still rock hard, so we had to chisel them apart very carefully without shattering the glass. So I have lots of messages about these saying, how do you do them? And with great difficulty is the question. So it's full airlift performance suspension, management. It's got intermotive stealth kit, so it's all hidden under the floor inside. Full there's custom struts for this. I must give it to them. It's probably the best air kit I've had on a car in terms of drive. With like, it's got adjustable dampening, camber, the stealth kit for the air. Like you can't hear the compressors really inside, so it's really, really good.
Oh, cool. I was just trying to see what brakes you got. So they
stock brakes,
but you've had them painted to match the accents in there.
I don't really think I could fit any others in there. So yeah, I just want to talk about Paintwork Pure Customs. He's done most of the work on the car, fitting the whole kit, looking after it, make sure it all fits well, building the wheels. So he is kind of the man that's behind the sort of fitting and building of the car. I just have the kind of creative vision of what I want it to look like, really.
And he brought it to life.
Yeah.
There's so many cool touches on this car, but one of the ones you say sometimes gets overlooked but is quite a big modification are those seats. So can Can you tell us about those?
Yeah, so the seats are out of a McLaren Mercedes SLR. I was looking for a set of Carbon Bucket seats originally, and a set of these came up, and it was just the base, the Carbon Bucket base, and I was a bit like, that's weird. So messaged the guy, got in touch with him. Turns out he had a Lotus track car that he was running the seats in just as a bucket for track use, but his friend worked at McLaren Mercedes when they were developing the SLR, so they were a set of development Carbon Buckets for him, and he had a couple of the bits of foam inside, and I basically bought them off him, took those bits of foam to my trimmer James at Auto Trim Systems, and basically he was like, I want it to match the kind of green accents on the outside, and then over a kind of collaborative effort of the sort of materials and the finishing and stuff like that, we came out with those, and then we did the rest of the inside as well to kind of match.
Yeah, no, it's lovely. And then another thing I want to talk about this car is it's effing loud.
Yeah.
So, can you tell me about the engine spec and that
Yeah.
straight-through system, what it sounds like?
So it's got stage 1 tune on it. That was done by Narco Tuning. It's got decat headers, no back boxes. So yeah, it's pretty loud.
Another feature of this crazy Cayman is that rear wing. So, did that come as part of the kit, or was that additional?
No, the wing was there kind of at the end of phase 1, I think. I already kind of had the idea of doing this to it. And the wings by a company called Aero, designed by Jacob.
Yep.
It's a really original name. A guy in the States basically does a lot of aero parts for Caymans. He just like splitters, diffusers and things like that. And I didn't want to go with a normal GT4 one that quite a lot of people go with. I knew I was going to go this extreme, so the wing kind of needed to match it.
What made you go, no, you know what, I'm going to go all out?
As you know yourself, I've been around for a fair few years building ridiculous cars and wasting a load of money on ridiculous cars. So I've always kind of had the plan of this was, I wouldn't say my last hurrah, but for a while I'm probably going to step away from doing big builds like this and kind of put into like adulting and buy a house, kind of settle down, get a house, do all the adult stuff, and then once all the money's kind of sorted and the house is sorted, probably go back into cars. So I kind of wanted to do like a big kind of, like a send-off sort of, something that I like really remember and that's kind of a bit special. So.
And can we talk about your car history? Because as you just touched on, you've got quite a nice car history. In fact, probably the last car we shot of yours was a 911.
Yeah.
And that had a new old kit? No.
Old and new.
Old and new.
Yeah, old and new body kit, yeah. That was full airlift, Rothman's painted livery.
Yeah, because it was mental paint, wasn't it? It was all painted, that livery.
Yeah.
And it made it onto the cover of Fast Car.
It did, yeah.
So, yeah, an amazing build. Before that car?
So I've had a wide body Evo, Varus Evo. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't know if I do, no.
That was on some big works, big wide body Varus body kitted Evo 10. And then probably most people probably remember my 8 Series, my old BMW 8 Series, many years ago.
And that was magazine featured as well, wasn't it?
That was on Performance BMW cover as well. That's kind of the first BMW 8 Series E31 that kind of was stanced, I guess.
So Matt, it's probably going to be really hard to choose, but if you had to pick your top 3 mods on this car, what would they be?
I'd say number 1, the top one for me, is the airlift performance suspension, just because it makes it usable. I think without the airlift performance suspension, this car wouldn't look as it looks, and I wouldn't be able to drive it. Number 2, probably the body kit, because it has completely transformed the look of the car. And number 3, the seats, probably, for me, because they look like they're supposed to be there. I think that's why a lot of people miss them, and they're super comfy. We went to a show called XS Car Night in Italy. It was kind of the first long drive I'd done with a car in this kind of
phase.
I guess, yeah, this phase, yeah. And obviously, as you found out, as you can see, it's rained and there's water that gets in the front. So we basically planned on making these kind of plastic covers that kind of sat underneath the sort of gap. So we basically sealed the gap inside with these plastic perspex. Then one night we were there, it started raining like it has today. So I basically stuck them on underneath, parked the car up overnight, let it rain. It was fine, no rain inside. And then the next day we got up. I didn't think anything of it that they were there. Went to the car wash, washed the car, and then drove to the event that we were going to on the day. So I was joining the Italian Autobahn, and then all of a sudden, at about 70 miles an hour, the bonnet basically went, woof, slapped onto my window and completely flew off the car on an Italian Autobahn.
Nice.
And yeah, scared the shit out of me. Departed somewhere off the back of the car. And then my friend who was with me came up behind me. He pulled in behind me on the slip road about 2 minutes after, because I was on the slip road with my hazards on. I got out, and according to him, I was smiling because it's kind of, it's I wouldn't say it's funny, but you got to kind of see the fun in it. And he comes over to me and he was like, "Your spoiler's broken." And I was like, "What do you mean my spoiler's broken?" And he was like, "Well, your spoiler's all bent." And he obviously hadn't seen the front of the car. And I was like, "Ah, okay." And then in my head, I was like, "So it's come off." So that came off, completely went over the roof of the car, hit the rear spoiler, and departed off on the side of the motorway in the middle of Italy.
So that's the second bonnet you've had on there?
Same bonnet, no, same bonnet. So that's just had a little carbon fibre repair on it. I went and retrieved it off the side of the motorway, and yeah.
Oh wow, so you got away with that really?
Got away with it, yeah. We drove it back from Italy and just taped the absolute crap out of it on the way back. So the whole side of the bonnet was taped on, and we went to what you can only describe as a B&Q over in Italy.
Yeah.
And basically got loads of like sort of silicone sealant that you use for like bathroom, and basically sealanted it back onto the mounts here, so it was secure, and then we just taped it just in case.
So that must have been a fun car show.
Yeah. Well, I didn't end up going to the car show, to be fair,
Oh,
because I had
did
no
you?
bonnet.
Well, if you like a car show and you don't want to drive all the way to Italy to a B&Q car park, why not come to the German Car Festival on the 5th of October at Goodwood, and you'll see cars like this and many more. In fact, Matt, you were at the first German Car Festival last year.
I was, yeah.
At Silverstone, but we've moved it this year to Goodwood. But yeah, it was a good day, wasn't it?
It was good, yeah. It was a nice day. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
So Matt, thank you so much today for taking some time out, because I know you're a busy man filming content, to talk about this crazy carbon Cayman. Yeah, it's just incredible. So thank you very much.
No problem, mate.
And remember, if you enjoyed this video, to like, subscribe and share. And don't forget to hit that notification bell.